I'd like to bring the Rutland Town School Board meeting to order at 6:06, September 9th. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So before the agenda, Linda had just mentioned our mission statement and thought that it would be nice to share that mission statement at the beginning of each meeting.
Especially this one because it's the start of the school year. And the vision is engaged, empowered, and prepared for the future, for tomorrow, excuse me. And the GRCSU mission is, our mission is to engage and empower students to achieve academic and personal success, preparing them to be responsible citizens who embrace a love for learning. That's what keeps us on track, and I think families and community members and the students, want that.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. Looking for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Any discussion? Additions? Deletions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Yes. Staff and student highlights. There, nothing for tonight, right, Sarah?
I don't know if somebody else, no teachers signed
okay.
up, but yeah.
All right, so we'll move on. All right. Teacher, staff, and community comments. Anything? Anyone? No one online? All right. So, moving on. I will take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Any discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Lewis, you're up.
Is this thing supposed to be on?
It's not working.
Yes.
Good evening.
Hi, Lewis.
So the year-end report was in the August packet, and I believe you tabled the discussion on that tonight. So we're just going to go through that. So Rutland Town ended FY25 with a surplus of $265,000. If you recall previous discussions, the surplus was a little higher earlier in the year, but we knew we had some larger projects scheduled for this year, and those estimates were coming in higher than what we had originally budgeted for the current school year. So we did spend down some of that surplus last year in the same year, knowing that we were going to have it on those projects so that we would have sufficient funds for both the asbestos abatement project as well as the HVAC project. So the 265 that you're seeing on the report is after those projects were paid for, the portion that we did pay for from last year's budget. And so on the report, I did list the reasons for the surplus. A lot of these are just one-time stuff that was unanticipated. So on the revenue side, we had $86,000 additional tuition revenue. Those are for students that live outside Rutland Town that are choosing to come to Rutland Town, and their districts or parents are paying tuition to Rutland Town. So I believe the number of students this year was far greater than we've had in the past, and so that far exceeded our budget expectations. We had $14,000 additional interest revenue, and that's just due to the interest rates being higher the last few years. We had $72,000, which was a refund from Rutland City. So at the end of each year, we have to provide all sorts of data to the state, and the state looks at that data and then gives us back an allowable tuition amount. And their allowable tuition amount came in less than what they had charged, so they had to refund us for all the students that attended. And the last revenue item was a $25,000. That was part of the new categorical grant for ELL students. which is English language learners. So if you have between 1 and 6 students in your district, then you receive a $25,000 grant. And that was unbudgeted. On the expense side, we had some salary and benefit savings in the amount of $63,000, and that's due to just on some open positions that were not filled for the full year, as well as staff changes. We budget based on staff that's in place in the fall of the previous year. So each year the staff changes, a portion of the staff changes, so we have maybe different salaries, different benefits, and sometimes it's a variance, sometimes it's a savings, sometimes it's cost us more. We had $240,000 in tuition savings. That was less tuition students than what we had budgeted for. And it sounds like a lot of money, but it's not a significant amount of students. 240,000 is approximately 10 to 11 students. We also had the SRO position was open for part of the year, so we had some savings on that. We had $48,000 in transportation savings, and that was due to a greater amount of revenue that we received from the state than we had anticipated. And then that last line, the repairs overspent $319,000. Those were the projects that we plan to do in FY26, which is our current school year, that we paid for a portion of those. We started those projects early in FY25 so that we can pay for a portion of those, and so that we would have sufficient funds in next year's budget to cover the whole project. Both the asbestos abatement and the AFAC project came in higher than we had estimated during budget time.
Good. Excellent. So I just want to be clear a little bit as mention of the surplus. Sometimes like, well, where did that come from? What's interesting to me, I guess, is like more than half of that surplus is based on secondary education, which is kind of like out of sight, out of mind when people look at our Rutland Town school budget in a lot of ways. Is that accurate in terms of, like, they say K through 8, they don't realize that we're paying a significant portion of our budget to also educate the 9 through 12 people in our community, students in our community.
Correct. I believe it's about 40% of your budget is secondary. And so of this surplus, 240,000 was from tuition savings and 72,000 was from tuition refund. So over 300,000 was secondary related.
And just out of curiosity, for my own sake, you forecast that how do we forecast that number as far as like secondary students? Like if you have like 40 of them graduating from secondary schools, but 25 gone into that school, do you look at that in any way, or do you sort of just average that out?
So we look at what our students are for the current, so when we work on budget for next year, which will be starting in the next month or so, I'll look at the students that we have this year and the schools that they're attending, and we'll move everybody up one grade. So the 12th grade, the current 12th graders will come off the list, and then we'll look at our 8th graders and we'll move them up to 9th grade, and we'll pick schools for them based on just the averages. So if 90% of the kids go to Rutland City, then we'll put 90% of the kids at a Rutland City tuition. A lot of the savings come in when we have students who attend schools that are either that we don't pay tuition to. It could be, so those are usually the students that are attending Stafford. So if you have a student that is currently a sophomore and they move to junior year and they go to Mill River, say, or Rutland City, Rutland City or Mill River will charge us their tuition, will charge us the Stafford, I'm sorry, Rutland or Mill River won't charge us the regular tuition. Instead, we'll get a Stafford bill. Mm-hmm. So those are, we would have budgeted 100% of them to tuition for Mill River or Rutland City, but we don't have to pay that tuition because they're attending Stafford. So that's where a lot of this tuition savings come in. Okay. We don't know who's going to be attending Stafford for next year when we're making the previous year budget.
Understood. Okay, excellent. I just think it's good information to have, considering budget.
Can I just share? So Lewis and I, we will meet in a couple weeks to talk about budget already. It's the season. And our 8th grade class last year was a large cohort of kids. So we'll follow them. So we know in 4 years when they leave, that's a high price cohort of kids because there's 50 kids. Our current 8th grade is a much smaller class. So just under 30. So we do talk about that. He looks at our numbers of kids and we follow them.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yep.
Excellent. All right. Well, no, thanks, Louis. Colin stepped out. Anyone else? Do you have any questions on that piece? No. And then we'll talk about this particular surplus when we get talking about budgets, whether it's a revenue line or however we will end up doing that. Is that?
Yeah, so we'll be looking at the first draft of the budget in November, and this will be one of the topics of discussion is how we want to handle this surplus. I mean, our main options are to use it as a revenue and give it back to the taxpayers, lowering our education spending, or asking the taxpayers to put it on the ballot to put it into like the capital improvement fund or some other fund.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you for your time. Thanks for jumping on.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Good. All right. All right. Next up, superintendent's report.
I don't have a ton to report. Two things at the GRCSU board meeting last week was discussed around having a community forum, and on October 7th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. we will be hosting a community forum for all the communities of the GRCSU to discuss Act 73 as well as redistricting. I know that there's a lot of questions about what this means for our communities, what's going to happen. We do know that currently we are waiting for the redistricting task force to develop at least one map to present to the legislator for consideration, and then once they receive these maps, then they will consider them, they'll vote. But that will then kind of set forth a lot of future conversations about the future of our schools and what's next for our students, our communities, our educators, and our staff. And so this is an opportunity, obviously, to just let our community understand what's going on. They've heard some terms being thrown around like foundation formula, what that means, about the local vote, and just the difference between a supervisory district versus a supervisory union. There's just a lot of information that will be presented tonight, but also allowing community members to ask a lot of questions. But understanding that there won't be a lot of answers either. So that because we're at a point where we're still trying to figure what the next steps are as well. So but it also gives our board an opportunity to hear what our communities may want moving forward, and it'll be a good evening for us to engage with our community. So a flyer will be generated and sent out, I think, within the next week or so. Excuse me, my allergies are really bad tonight. And then we also have an FAQ document that'll be sent out. So Sarah and Cole will send out with their report or their weekly newsletter that goes out to families. We also have information at the next open house for Rutland Town as well. I also want to acknowledge that we have, excuse me, I was also at a soccer game where I had to watch Tim Hammond's daughter just run up the score on my daughter's team, and so I just
Wow.
So I'm a little upset about this. So I'm still in shell shock, but no. The next thing is traditionally at our back to school in service, we recognize a GRCSU Outstanding Educator of the Year award, and I'll kind of set this up, and if Sarah's mind, I'll let Sarah talk a little bit more about this. We decided this year to revamp our process because in the past what we've done is there's been a rotation where each year 2 schools would then, like it'd be Rutland Town and say Proctor Elementary, and so we then selected an educator from those 2 schools, and that would be our UVM Educator of the Year. What we thought would be a nice option, because we understand there are a lot of great educators in our schools, and to select 2 is a very difficult process, and so we made the decision to open it up where each school is going to select one educator, and then from this pool of 8 candidates, we then would look at the criteria set forth by University of Vermont and would select 2 UVM outstanding educators. This year is as most years, a very challenging, very difficult decision. But one of the individuals selected for UVM educator was Rutland Town's Jill Alderman. And I wouldn't mind just letting Sarah just speak briefly about Jill and some nice things you had to say about her and your candidacy. So. And Colby as well.
Yeah. No.
So I don't know if you
Okay,
wanted
yeah. So we were just, this is always a tough decision. And Linda Mullen has also been the recipient of UVM Teacher of the Year.
Humbled by it.
Shout out. Last year we had Lori Elliott, and we were just happy that Superintendent Sell said there's like more of a rubric and a criteria to follow. And I think I was probably the last to give you a teacher because it was so tough. Colby and I kind of went back and forth. We have so many amazing teachers. So Jill has been a PLC leader. She has taught at in-services. She's led some groups along with some other teachers here as well. She's had multiple teachers from other surrounding schools come observe her for both UFly and her Orton Gillingham. She's an Orton Gillingham classroom educator. I don't think there is a summer that goes by where I have not filled out a professional development form for her to take classes. She just really exemplifies and just be an incredible teacher, welcoming to every child that walks into her room, goes above and beyond. Great collaborator, great leader. You want to add anything?
Pretty much done.
Yeah.
I mean, she's very innovative. She's one of the first to always take on new things. She's open and willing to model things, to lead staff in, again, cutting edge research-based practices. So she's just phenomenal.
Yeah. So we were so excited that she was chosen as one of the UVM Teacher of the Year for our district.
Yes, and so Jill will then, there's a very nice ceremony held on October 27th at 4 o'clock up at the University of Vermont. I've been to this is my 6th year of going to this. It is a very nice ceremony. It's just a nice evening. So obviously if anyone here would like to attend, just let me know so we can get you on the list. But it'd be great to be up there to support Jill in some capacity. But we just want to congratulate Jill on her hard work and her accomplishments. But she's a worthy candidate. So. And last thing, I'm going to loop back just to Act 73. Just obviously, as we become more aware of what's going on, we will continue to communicate with our families, our community members. Like I said, we are in a bit of a down period, which is really just around this redistricting task force. We're just waiting to see what's going to happen. And I know that part of the conversation is trying to decide what that fate should be. We do know that consolidation or redistricting is going to happen. And it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And I think part of the conversation at the GRCS board meeting was if we can have a say in some way, like what this may look like, it might be, smart for us to kind of rally and just say, look, as we see where, July 1, 2028 or 2029, whatever this may be, what this looks like, here's where we think is going to be best for our kids. And I think that's where the conversation should really be is ultimately what is best for kids moving forward, not best for staff or myself or anyone else. It really is what's best for kids because our legislators are making generational decisions that are going to greatly impact our students and their well-being, both academic and social emotional. So hopefully they will take this into consideration. But this is another opportunity for us to allow community members' voices to be heard. So I don't know if Tim or Colin, you were at that meeting as well. No, I don't know if you have anything to add about the community forum or not. But so from a Rutland Town perspective.
No, just reiterating the fact you were going to try to get some information out during open house next week. So I'll be attending the open house, I'm sure, for Wes. So maybe I can spend a little time to try to get it into the hands of some parents, or if not, we'll try to get it in a central location that brings some attention to it. So, and it will be virtual, you said, right?
There will be a virtual option, yes.
I think, yeah, part of our goal is too that I think it'd be easy to distribute to the school community and parents and kids, but see if we can get the folks that are not directly in the school community, but in the town to get this literature, to be paying attention to what's going on with Act 73, and hopefully they can participate, or at least start to gather more information, ask us questions, or ask us questions to who to ask questions to. So we're really trying to engage the entire Rutland town community as the changes that are coming down for the millions that are listening right now. Try to get engaged, or share it with your neighbors too, and for all of our kids and their parents, pass it along to your neighborhoods of the folks that don't have kids in the school, so we can get as much participation as possible. We'd really like to hear from everybody, or at least educate everyone as to what's happening, so everyone's not shocked like we are every year. And I apologize for stepping away. I had a work emergency.
All right, Sarah, you're up.
Sure. So we are off and running, right? It's like we never left. It's been a little busy, for sure.
Been
Okay,
great to have the building filled again though, with
Yeah.
staff and students.
yeah. So fast bridge assessments, right back into it. So they started this week. Teachers are working on their first 6 weeks of school, so getting all those learning routines, expectations. Colby met with the EST committee last week. There's another in-house meeting tomorrow, and then we'll get right back into those weekly meetings, talking with teachers about data, progress monitoring, etc. Teachers have scheduled their goal meetings with us, so they're due by September 30th, so they're bringing those meetings with Colby and I. Physical plant, there's a long list of things on here. I have some other things, Tim. I don't know if you want me to list them, leave them.
When you get down to the capital maintenance plan piece, we're going to discuss it later.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I just,
Yeah.
yeah.
It wasn't in my packet. I think it's in our drive, so
Okay.
you might want to.
So HVAC, thankfully, that is underway. Thank you to the board for approving that bid. Mark McGee started, which is great. We did have to remove some things like the ductwork because that was an extra $100,000. So that should be done at some point. But we're thankful that HVAC has started. Boiler inspections are being completed. Pre-K playground, we have some safety mats that were put under the swing sets. Fire evacuation maps were all updated. You'll see those in the rooms. If you haven't seen the new teacher's room, Kelly and his team worked really hard in redoing that teacher's room. We'd love to move the refrigerator so it's not in the center, but where the plug-in is, we can't. That's more money to put a new GFI plug over there. But it looks really nice, and teachers have expressed their thanks.
It's far more functional too. So like with the number of bodies that go in and out of there every day, it's far more functional for people to go and get copies, get their lunch, check their mailbox, and not be right on top of each other. So it's great use of space.
Yeah. The new entry, I had sent an email out about our new entry that's been on a list of safety and security for our building for a while now. So we're waiting for a new window to be installed. That's just on back order. And then eventually our front entryway, that will be locked. So we'll buzz people in there, and then there'll be like a slider window so Mrs. Davis or Mrs. Bathlon can speak to whomever. But that way when we're buzzing people in, they're not just in the building right away. So it definitely makes it more secure. It's something that every school resource officer has talked to us about over the years. So we were excited to start that this year.
So that's just a process of being able to understand who's coming into the building and things like that. I mean, I just want to be clear of like.
So
the
what happened
exchange
before is when visitors came in, we would buzz them in and they had full access to the building. So without having them stop, sign in, get a visitor badge, and say like, who are you here for?
Got it.
So we've had a number of instances throughout the year where maybe somebody that shouldn't have been buzzed in because we didn't know they were here and maybe taking a student that they shouldn't, etc. So our school years, in other schools, it looks like this. You got to buzz the front door to then be left in. So I had sent an email out to parents just about that new process. So when they come in now, they'll hit the buzzer and talk through the glass. Eventually we'll have more of a slider, so it's a little bit more obvious.
And also put people that come in that potentially are violent in a holding area, not accessing into the building.
It utilizes the foyer. So
Yeah.
again, before, you've always had to be buzzed in, but when you get buzzed in, you'd be already in the office.
Right.
And then
Now
you're
you can't.
fully in the building.
Right.
Whereas now you can get buzzed in the outer doors, and then you're in the foyer, can talk with Sherry and Lauren through the glass that we're gonna get installed. And we still have a level of security until they're fully in. So,
So they'll come in, get a pink visitor pass, sign in, and then they may just say, my kid forgot their soccer cleats, leave them there. We'll run them down, forgot the lunch, whatever it may be. Snow pants, that'll be soon enough.
Is there a reason to get a slider or just leave it like it is?
It'll be better to hear. Like she can hear through right now with that microphone, but we're gonna get. It's not a bulletproof glass because bulletproof glass for that one window. Any guess, Jeff? I'm wondering if you would guess how much the glass is.
Thousands of dollars.
Just guess for that one window.
30?
It was 18,000. I didn't realize it would be that much for a window. So I forgot the language, but it matches the protective glass that we've had here that Officer Sly helped us with when we had that safety and security money.
and the slider helps for ease of, when someone's in the foyer and is just dropping something off for their child, or it's a student that's late and just needs a tardy pass, they can check in with Lauren, she can give them the pass, buzz them in, and they can just go straight to class. Whereas in the interim, before we have this slider, they're buzzed in, they gotta come back in the office, get the late slip, and then go to class, so
And
it's
make a
just,
circle.
yeah.
I want to make it easy.
Right. That's what we're trying to do.
I mean, that, the color commentary helps, I guess, because the email, I was like, as a parent, I was like, oh, that's not a very inviting procedure, I guess, so like, as you guys say it, it's practical, it's efficient and, things like that, but.
Yeah.
And the other thing I don't think we mentioned is the privacy of the office was another factor in it. So like when people would get buzzed into the office historically and they're waiting to sign out their child, let's say, then any conversations that hopefully are kind of being muffled at that time, parents are right there for.
Yeah. Do we
So
have
now
a
at
bench
least
or
in the
anything in the
foyer.
foyer?
Yes.
What's
Yeah, yeah. So
Very
there's
nice.
chairs, benches, there's like end tables,
Yep.
and such. So that's the waiting area for people. And that was the big thing too. There may be some kids not in a good space, and they were kind of on display for other parents picking up their children too, which we want to protect their privacy as well as any conversations in the office.
Make the chairs not too comfortable, so people aren't
Yeah.
getting up there.
All right.
What's that Wi-Fi code? No, that's good. I appreciate that. I just
Yeah.
wanted some clarity on
Yeah,
that. So,
absolutely.
makes sense.
So the crisis team met, speaking of safety and security, and we have our drills mapped out. Lots of celebrations and upcoming events that I listed here. We already talked about Mrs. Alderman. Congratulations to her again. Ginger Cook happens Thursday, Friday, so those are day trips this year. Mr. Hescott.
Good weather for it, I think.
Yeah. Mr. Hescott's going to go for one day. Mrs. Cornell is starting the spelling bee club. Our athletics are already up and going. We had our pre-K 4 back to school night already. We have next week our 5 through 8 back to school night. We have National Punctuation Day. We'll do Schwa Day again. And then John Halligan. I get excited over these things. John Halligan is a speaker that we've welcomed about 3-4 years ago. Some of you I've heard him many times in the 4 other schools that I've worked at. So he unfortunately lost his son, and he talks about that experience, but really about technology and the screen time that kids have been on. And part of our continuous improvement plan is reaching out to parents about that. And already the start of this school year, Colby and I have had some instances of misuse of technology, a lot at home, but a little bit that's been brought into the school, and parents really asking for help and advice on devices and screen time, etc. So I'm really hopeful that we get some parents that will attend that night on the 29th of September from 6:30 to 7:30 in the cafeteria. And the middle school will have an assembly as well.
I bet you get a big group because it is in the forefront of people's lives.
Yeah, and if parents think it's not and their child has a device, please come, because it is.
Yeah.
And I think those, like Colby and I had a conversation with some parents already that just not just unaware of kind of what's happening behind that screen. So important dates, I just left those here because we have our graduation and end of year studies planned. We did that last year. Challenges, a little bit about what we already talked about, technology, and that is a challenge with kids at home that trickles into school. We are always short-staffed, so if anybody wants to be a substitute, please call GRCSU. We need subs. And pre-K subs as well, and we're looking to hire a general education first grade paraeducator to help with our 2 first grade classrooms until Mrs. Prozo returns. But I did make an offer to a candidate today, so I just need central office, they'll reach out. So hopefully by next month, we will have somebody, is the hope.
That person will start tomorrow.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
awesome. And then I have our enrollment numbers here. So as you know, it's a little bit less than last year because we had 44 kindergartners enroll last year and we had 52 8th graders last year. So with that, we don't have as big of a 8th grade class this year or as big as a kindergarten class this year. But still good numbers. Do you want to talk about FastBridge next? I know that is in there. Or any questions on the report, principal's report?
Yeah, I was just gonna make a mention, I was gonna say something about enrollment, but it's probably not the report that's needed, so I was just trying to incorporate the secondary population, in some way, but,
I can do that for the future. How many nights? Because that's a question. That's actually a really good idea.
just in like
I don't know if Lewis
parentheses.
is on.
or something.
Yeah. Because I will do that.
Like how many are enrolled, 9 through 12?
Yeah. I ask
Yeah.
him every year
Even if it's doesn't have to be to the student, but
because
just
they
be
are our
counted.
kids for sure. Yeah, I will add that. Do you want me to talk about 8th grade trip?
However, this is your show, so however you want to
Okay.
push through.
Okay, so I know that parents had 2 fundraisers, one at the townwide celebration, another one at Panera. Sherry hasn't gotten numbers yet for how much was raised, but she'll reach out to those parents, and I know that they'll give her that money when it comes through. So Lori Elliott and Amanda McIntyre are still working on the Boston trip and the education day. Many of those places say it's way too early to plan. So they have not much has changed since we discussed this in June. They've secured the premier bus for the trip in Boston. They've penciled in the education day at Great Escape, and they will later explore Killington. There's a lot of questions about that too. One is money, and then if it can fit in or not. So.
Wasn't there another conflict with Killington too? Like whether it was even
Whether they're
open
going to be
at-
open. Yeah, so I think they want to get the first 2 planned, and then that's the last.
And has have the 2 teachers, are they connecting with the parents in any way? Like, is there any conversation happening yet, just based on
What 2 teachers?
the 2
McIntyre
that,
and-
yeah.
Oh, no, I don't think they've been reaching out to parents as of yet. There's not much to report since we were in communication with them in June.
So it's kind of a holding pattern a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's just early. I mean, their day trips, they're penciled in, but it's not, it's just, school just started.
Yeah, I did get the email from Amanda. So, and it seemed like it was kind of a bit of in purgatory through the summer and,
Yeah.
and even early on. So, I would almost say keep this on the agenda for October, and maybe they can have a little more to report, or at least know what the fundraising dollars are and things like that. So
Okay.
I base that mostly on the fact that looking back at the minutes, that we wanted to continue to see how it progresses and moves forward, and largely it seems like it's kind of what was first presented. So if that's if that's what's happening, then we can, I don't know, move forward, I guess. I'm not really sure. I don't know where the board kind of falls in play, but it keeps getting brought up to the board for discussion. we're just kind of in that same place, you know, so.
It'll
far
come
as, like,
together.
So, okay, well then we'll chat Fastbridge and then we'll move into capital maintenance plan after that.
Sure. Yeah. Do you want to go through the Fastbridge slides that everybody had in their packet? Do you?
I think
Want me to just
an
highlight?
overview is fine unless anyone wants anything deeper than that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think I don't even remember how many years we've been doing Fastbridge now. 4? 4? 4. I think this is our 4th year doing Fastbridge. So, we do them in the fall, the winter, and the spring. Typically in the spring, we will see a little bit of a dip, especially with our 8th graders, just because it doesn't really surprise me. They're kind of done. But overall, I think our scores were great. Tyler Wiedemann was wonderful. I think just before school started, he gathered all this data together, shared it with Colby and I, and then we talked about next steps. So you can see all those visuals in your packet. So Colby and I had just said for our, analysis is that supervision evaluation, right? We're always observing teachers. We have a great MTSS system here. So there are goal meetings with teachers or data meetings, with teachers for all of their kids. So they talk about what does this data tell us about this kid. It's a screener, so it's not an end all be all. And our teachers know their children for sure. So it doesn't mean that if they had one bad test that they're going to be intervention or, they need progress monitoring. We really look at the whole child. So we continue with MTSS, weekly meetings and progress monitoring, talking about that data and instruction within our PLCs, and then professional development, whether that be through GRCSU in-service or those early release days.
Is there a way to share this link? Or is this public, right? I mean, so
Yeah.
could we get that link on the minutes only because we can't share it on the screen?
We didn't get that in our
And it
packet.
wasn't in our packet. It's
Oh, it's not in the
It was
packet?
only in the drive.
We don't place some of our packets because it just wastes a lot of paper.
Oh,
So that's
yeah.
why we place everything in the drive for you to see. So-
Yeah, that's fine.
I printed it. It is a lot of paper.
Yep.
Don't tell us.
But it's fine to put a link on the minutes, right? So,
Yes, yes.
I mean, it's a lot of information to digest. Anyway, so it's hard to kind of like paint a pretty picture of these graphs.
Yeah. No, it's all good stuff.
So yeah, no, it looks.
And when it comes to Fastbridge, I think one of the biggest things we emphasize is growth. And one of our takeaways is we had some really high percentages across the board. K-8 when it comes to how many students had either modest or aggressive growth on their Fastbridge scores. So those are really awesome highlights.
I mean, my interactions with the teachers when there was questions on Fastbridge had been positive. I think there's something with Sophia's where she was transpose something. It's like she knows that. She knows that element of math or whatever.
Yeah.
And she clearly does it in the classroom, and she, just out of anxiety or something, was like add instead of times or just simple things like that. So, but the conversation was very good at the time. That was a couple of years ago, I think. But,
And as Sarah said, these help build the picture of the student. They really help us map out, for lack of a better term, like where they're at and what they need and how we can continue to support them and push them forward. So.
Yeah, it's one data point, plus there's classroom work and other tests that they take, so.
now, is that general practice to have it? I guess you want to have it early in the return to school so that you get them right out of summer.
Get a baseline, essentially, be able to use that as data to really get underway pretty quickly with any support and continuing with, potentially EST plans or, yeah.
And what we've seen is that when you are already, when you're meeting the standard, sometimes it's really hard to continue that growth or if you're high achieving already, sometimes that's tough. So we've had discussions with kids that are tough on themselves too. I was really hoping to go up more. I'm like, buddy, you're already
Keep it up.
way above other people. Yeah, but I think we always talk about what we want to see is growth no matter where kids are. And I think overall they've done a really good job.
I mean, I'm not an educator, so maybe I don't need to put my 2 cents in, but I guess it's interesting when it's like first six weeks of school, build routines, expectations, or relationships, but then, week 3 of school, here's some tests,
We're testing them all
you know
right
what I
now.
mean? It's like, so no knock on you guys by any stretch, but it's just, the system seems,
That's our assessment calendar. It's
Yeah,
literally- it's like
it's
as soon as they come back in, I'm like, oh, here we go again. Yeah.
that's,
And we will often see, especially with younger kids, typically there is a dip. There's a regression from summer.
yeah.
So that won't be surprising.
No, that's
We
good.
don't want that, but realistically that will happen sometimes.
And the other reason I think we try and be pretty timely with it is, if we waited until mid-October, let's say, and we could identify with the help of FastBridge that someone needs something additional, some extra supports or an adjustment to what we're already doing, then we're already a month and a half into school.
Yeah,
And that's time that you could consider maybe is wasted.
yeah.
So the sooner we know it, the sooner we can implement it, along with those first 6 weeks of building routines and relationships and all of the above, so.
And those intervention teachers are ready
Yeah.
to jump in
Oh,
and
you're right.
support.
Because they want to build those relationships
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Build
To
their
make clear,
routines.
intervention is academic with math and reading to close those gaps. Some people didn't know what that meant.
Yeah, I mean, it all sounds like great things. Just always just like to ask questions when it
Yeah.
comes. It's like no easy way, and it's not just this, town or state or region, because I see it. Friends of mine in Delaware have talk about testing all the time. Teachers who have kids in school and things like that. They're like, wow, they just we just tested 6 times in 8 months, or things
Yeah,
like
and
that.
certain grades get it hit harder because this year 4th grade and 8th grade will have the NAEP. So they come and test for 4th and 8th grade, and then we also have SABRS, that social emotional screener that students are given, and then we have BICAP. So it's a lot.
Yep.
And I hear from teachers, when am I going to provide instruction? All we're doing is testing them in the spring, and kids will say the same thing. I'm so sick of all these tests. So we do the best that we can to, get as much information from how we can better improve our instruction to help them. But for a few cohorts, it's a lot of assessments.
It's good insight. Appreciate that. All right. So we're now on to capital maintenance plan. Did Kelly share any? I saw the plan that he put in.
Yeah, so that was the same plan that you've had access to, the 5-year plan.
Yeah.
And I did ask him to just yesterday because we met, because I know that you asked for a couple of updates. So I have a list, and these things have been in my principal's report for August. I know it was the retreat and this evening. So I can go down and just kind of list everything that's happened if you want me to, and some
Yeah.
things we're looking at this year. You
Yeah,
tell me.
I mean, I guess for me, like to Colin's point, like parents are, I don't want to say that, I don't know if vested is the right word, right? Because I know there's a lot of community members vested in the school too, but we're in and out of here, we're here for sports, like we see everything happening, we see the improvements that happen and things like that, where many of the public don't come to the school, so yeah, but they are aware, or do hear about, things happening at the school and the surplus being spent and what's happened. So I thought it would just be nice to share, a little bit of commentary on,
Sure.
on what happened
Yeah.
over the past couple of months here, and, the improvements that have been made and things like that.
Yeah.
So,
So we did 23,000 square feet of asbestos abatement that happened, and then their only asbestos that's here in the building are some under the guidance stairs back here, and then under the unit heaters. We weren't gonna be able to rip all those out and do all of that. So with that, 23,000 square feet is new flooring was installed. Stormwater project, that was a grant with some portion of funds that we had to contribute through local budget. So that was completed this summer as well. They will probably come back to recover or overseed grass is what Kelly told us, because some of that didn't all come up. The stairs by the lower parking lot, that was upgrades were done for grip strips and new railings. The basketball court was repaved and painted. For grounds, some of you saw the pavers that were placed around some of the trees just for aesthetics, and it makes it easier for mowing. Last spring, I forgot to include this, there's a big net behind the soccer field back there.
When did that happen? Was that was in the spring?
In spring to catch all the balls.
It just kind of like popped up. It was almost like has that been here?
Yeah. So
that looks great. And
so that was there. Safety inspection. So annual safety inspection for fire panel and fire extinguishers were completed. A new pole station was installed that was damaged during the abatement. HVAC is underway, as I mentioned before, not including that ductwork cleaning. The preschool playground, safety mats I told you about, evacuation, break room, the window will be installed. There's a bunch of new camera systems that have been in, a new keyless entry system for teachers. We now have codes to get in. The crisis drill schedule's done. Kelly's building some bookshelves and cubbies. He's also working with, we're gonna bring back Forest Fridays with our kindergarten teachers. So one of the focus this year is really around student engagement. So both Megan and Megan, M Squared, came to me and said, we really want to implement Forest Friday again. Like, this is our idea. I'm super excited. So I met with the two of them and with Kelly. So we have some ideas. They're gonna have to reach out to the PTO for some funding things, but that is in the works to get a new space out there, outdoor space for kindergarten. The roof inspection, there's several buckles in the roof, so Kelly's reached out to the original contractor to advise on next steps. You gave us the name of that a while ago. He installed a new hoop wench in the gym, and it works with a key and has a safety strap to it as well. And then the stage curtains, those were in the cafeteria. So I think when we looked at curtains, it was like $30,000 something, because Visbit said they weren't fire resistant. That was one of the things we got dinged on. They were old. So he looked and we got a really good deal. I think maybe it was $3,500 or under $4,000 for curtains. And we get a weekly Vermont Principals Association memo, and sometimes you can throw out questions in there. And another principal was like, I need new curtains, and oh my gosh, it's gonna kill my budget. And I was like, we know someone. So I shared that contact, and it was somebody from New England too, which is always nice when it's somewhat local. So those are the things that happened this summer, some in the spring. What Kelly met with Colby and I, what he would like to focus on is the gym, to get 5 new coral risers to match the other ones. He would love to get new bleachers, but he would also like to have the gym painted, just to get a quote to put in the plan. Not that this can happen, but just to see. For boilers, Mark McGee is coming to inspect, if he hasn't already, all the boilers to ensure that they're clean, new parts, pumps, all that's functioning smoothly. And Kelly would also like to add, other than what's in that 5-year plan, is just for paving in between the open wing and middle school. He wanted to add that into the 5-year plan just to get a quote. So he got a really good deal for the basketball court, and it just helps with plowing, etc.
No, that's great. I mean, I think it's awesome. Everything I've seen so far, I've really liked. So, and I'm sure like the capital improvement or the maintenance plan, he can update that with what he just shared with you as we get into budgets, right? And then have a little more understanding.
Just the stairs, he's gonna have to put some sort of knobs down through, or you're gonna have people snowboarding down those stairs.
What about skateboarding?
Or skateboard, either one.
Okay,
But
knobs in the
there needs to
railing.
be knobs all the way down on those. Otherwise, I came in one time and the snow was froze against the door, and it was like mounded up like this. And they spent the weekend snowboarding on the.
Gotcha.
It
Yeah.
was, a former student.
I have talked to Officer Perkins too about kind of just like our campus is very open. You know, we are not all fenced in. We have had some community members that come on the weekend and they leave a ton of trash. They've moved soccer nets. They've taken preschool playground equipment and dragged it all over to like the basketball court. So we're moving that back. So we're trying.
Yeah, I know that's tough, but this is a public school.
Exactly. That's what I told Mark that
And
we right.
Stuff you don't want touched, don't have it out there.
But I think soccer nets and stuff like that is.
Oh, we had the same problem,
Yeah.
you know.
I think I think you and I saw some things before with.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wonder if you can just drive a stake down and like just.
Doesn't work.
No, it's just, yeah. I just think what I was hoping is that it was a family that I knew that I could just call to say you're welcome to. Obviously, it's a public space, but if you take something, just put it back. Please don't put your trash. Please don't bring your trash to the playground.
Are there
Put it
cameras
in the
out
trash
back?
can.
Well, if the trash can's full because somebody else dumped their trash. those
Oh,
kinds
yeah.
of things. Yes, and we do
They
have new
do
cameras. So
focus.
Colby and I are meeting with tech soon.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah, to review all the camera stuff.
Cameras don't lie.
Right.
The whole area back there?
What's that?
Whole area back there is
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're gonna see it
Can I
tomorrow.
review it with you?
I think that's the tough part is that we've had instances where there's like dead spots and we're very fortunate that, taxpayers helped us with that security bond and that gave us a lot to start with, but things progress with technology. So some of the camera systems were just, we couldn't see, you couldn't see at night. So if we had graffiti or other things, we wouldn't be able to see. There's been issues with
Did
the
we
bus.
get everything fixed on the inside? Everything been repaired on the inside or replaced?
For what?
Cameras?
Yeah, we're gonna meet with tech tomorrow to see
Oh,
where
okay.
all of this is. So we've had a guy named Clark, Mill and Greg, from GRCSU. They've been working with this guy Clark. He's been here most of the summer with cabling to help with the entry door access, as well as all of the cameras. So I don't know. I just know we told him we did a walk through with him, and he went to work. So I haven't.
Yeah.
We'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, lots been done, so that'll protect the building and.
Yeah, and usually I would just call the family and say, please don't do that. But if I can't recognize who they are, I can't make out a plate, I'm not able to do that.
Yeah.
Tim, you should bring the trash somewhere else.
Yeah, right. Casella's getting expensive. All right. Well, thank you for that. Linda's done a nice job of working up an article for the circle that I need to put whatever additions I want to make, which will be few because she did such a nice job. But a couple of them were just some bullet points on what we did here at the school. So I might have to touch base with Kelly just via email on a couple specifics, just so we can be
absolutely.
like the 23,000 square feet, just basic little things like that are great to add into that. So I would do that. So
I can share this document with you. We just went through the board report
Okay.
from August and September, and we added a few more things. So
Yeah,
if that will help.
yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Tim, I was just gonna add that, it fulfills our board goal of communications by using the circle. We're really fortunate to have the circle in our town. Besides the board meetings, of course, and other ways to communicate.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so chair report, a few of these things we've already discussed, so I'll just move on from those. I just want to mention our budget timeline as we get into budget season, and one of our board goals that we'll approve here shortly, hopefully, is to keep the budget in focus, and one was to be sure that community conversations begin early on in the process. So, just for sake of the public that's out there and anyone that wants to share with the public, our first draft of the budget will be presented at our November school board meeting. So, oftentimes the buzz gets out in January, late January, early February as we get close to town meeting. but we start talking about this, within the next couple of months. So, if anyone wants to, shed any input or just, be able to hear what's happening, November board meeting will be the first draft of the 27-28 budget? 26? Yeah, the 27-28 budget. So
26, 27.
Oh, 26,
It's FY
26,
27, but it's 26, 27.
I thought it was time is going way too fast. And then I did want to mention, I will read it, the GRCSU had a statement that they were sharing with the task force, including Rutland Town School in that statement. If anyone's obliged, we can adopt it as a board, but I don't think it's necessary. I'll leave it to whoever may want to make that motion. But I did want to read it and just share with a couple of board members that aren't on the SU. So it says, Greater Rutland County Supervisory Union being composed of the member districts of Ira School District, Corey Valley Unified Union School District, Rutland Town School District, and Wells Springs Unified Union School District moves to remain a supervisory union within a larger governance region to the extent practicable under the terms of Act 73 The Greater Rutland County Supervisory Union will submit our statement of intent to the new redistricting task force when it is established, and will reach out to neighboring school districts to explore combining into a larger supervisory union. Our purpose is to optimize cost savings and efficiencies where possible while maintaining local democratic engagement, oversight, and accountability in order to achieve excellent educational outcomes for our communities, children, and youth at a cost Vermonters can afford. So I just wanted to share that, as I think the task force meets again tomorrow. And the SU chair was given permission from the SU to touch base with Chris Sell's help of other districts or SUs in the area, I guess you would say. So I don't know if there's any discussion, or if want a motion, or if, like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be adopted, but I at least wanted to share since our name is in fact on it. So.
I just was, we have 3 people on the district board. That's great, but we really need, if we want to move forward with anything, we need to settle teacher contracts and get that behind us so that we can move forward with focusing on what we are going to do as a whole group to be able to somewhat stay together. But that's one thing I think that needs to be done and over with to move on with the rest of the projects that we have to face.
We're working on a date for mediation to hopefully put that to bed.
Both parties are trying to find a date for mediation.
So that's our.
Are we close on that date, or not sure?
There's been settled on from my understanding, there's a mediator's been settled on, but trying to find a time when the mediator is available to meet with both parties. So
That's just my opinion on that piece, and then we can move forward with, to have those things hanging and dealing with those things, and then we can put all our focus on this stuff and try to get.
Well, I think what's important for this stuff is to hear from our community. We get voted in by Rutland Town citizens, and there's a massive redistricting, rezoning going on, and our job currently is to represent our people and be fiduciaries over the Rutland Town board. Some of us get pulled up to this SU board. We need to find out from our community what they want. Not to the extent we may not have any control about what happens, but ultimately, if we're going to make a move as an SU, which is this statement, we need to hear from our people on what's important, because not every district inside of, we're part of a supervisory union, but Rutland Town's a district. We don't have a secondary school, where some other districts in our SU have a secondary school. Rutland Town has school choice. So when things are going to move forward, if we're going to present something to the state or the redistricting committee, we need to hear from Rutland Towners on what they want. Do they want us to fuse into it becoming a district where we don't have school choice? And we can't do that without hearing from you. It's really difficult. You're putting the onus on 5 people to make choices that may not align with what the Rutland Town public wants. I know what I want, but I'm also, fiduciarily tied to like people voting me in. So we need to hear from you guys. There's 3 online right now and a couple back here, but that's an important piece if we're going to make a move forward, what Rutland Town wants to do. And we are part of an SU currently, but everything is going to change in the next 3 to 4 years. So I like the statement, but also we represent Rutland Town, so I'd like to hear from them. And kind of choosing not to participate or not ask questions or not is also a choice that you don't care what happens. So be involved or don't bitch about what happens 3 years down the road that you got blindsided.
Probably
Sorry
that
for my
community
language.
forum will
Correct.
help
Yeah.
people understand the choices.
Or get an understanding on, what we are, to Tim's point too, like we're K to 8, but we have to educate kids all the way through 12th grade.
Yeah.
That's just, everyone in America does that. So there's a choice after 8th grade too about what we want this to look like. Some districts will disappear. Some schools will be shut down. That's what's happening. And unfortunately, I don't hear a lot of people asking us questions about that. It's more or less like, hey, what about recess time? Like, hey, what about property taxes? And do we have a school in 3 years? That's probably a little bit more important than what color
what
jerseys
Jeff-
we have
yeah.
or what our mascot's name is. So,
What Jeff was saying about the teacher negotiations, in the meantime, that's a good thing to get out of the way.
It is.
Yeah, because it creates a climate and it could be positive.
I did have it right there too. So I had it right there.
Good.
So you covered that base for me.
So,
All right.
well, I think to be clear, as part of the negotiation team, the goal is to get a contract, and it has been our goal to get it done as fast as possible. In light of what happened in a neighboring community, that's the last thing we want to see happen. Certainly the parties aren't, I don't think we're fighting right now. It's just finding a mediator that we can get to the table and get this thing put to bed, and finding time seems to be the problem. It hasn't been particularly arduous when we're sitting down with each other, but we need help, and we want to get a date on the calendar before things get out of control.
Stay tuned. Okay, anyone else say anything to add before I move on to personnel? All right. Next up, personnel. I will take a motion to, it's information only, right? So don't even need that. All right. Moving forward, old business. So in August, we had met for a board retreat, reviewed some goals from last year, and kind of revised, tweaked, and tightened up those, which I'll share here, and then we'll just look to for a motion to approve the goals, I guess, as written. I didn't wordsmith them, so just have to take them as they are. But so one was navigating Act 73 implementation and communicating back to Rutland Town community, including stay current and up to date with the flow of information from the task force, AOE, Greater Rutland County Supervisory Union, etc. I think to say that because the information seems that could change abruptly, Right now, we're getting very little information, but it could come fast and furious. So, invite decision makers and stakeholders to our meetings, which I feel like we do pretty routinely. Utilize multiple communication channels to spread information as it becomes available. Seek community feedback on their most important topics related to Act 73, which Colin just mentioned. Next, goal number 2 was keep budget in focus, including prioritize communicating budget progress throughout the duration of the budget building. Be sure that the community conversations begin early in the process, which I just mentioned. Budgets will start up in the next 2 months, and that gives us about a 4-month window to have some pretty deep conversations with the community if there's issues or concerns. Work with this came up in lieu of the surplus. I thought Lewis, made a pretty clear point of how much of that surplus was just based on secondary students' tuition and things like that. But that was to work with the business office to better understand the trend of actuals versus budgeted, to limit that variance of the surplus or deficit for that matter. We've been lucky to have a surplus over the past few years, but just so that we can make solid, timely decisions if we see the variance moving in one direction or other outside of the final 6 or 8 weeks of the fiscal year. And then last, continued positive climate and culture in the school and Rutland Town school community, including things such as over the recent years we've had a school board / staff appreciation, not a luncheon because it's after school, but a bit of a social for an hour or so. Rutland Town Class Spotlight at monthly school board meetings, which Sarah and I had talked about continuing on this year. I knew this particular meeting with school just getting back in session wasn't a high priority, but it's great when we get to see things happening within the school and the students come in, and really super proud of those students that'll come in and stand up in front of the camera and others and deliver what they're learning in the classroom. So engagement in and promotion of school events and activities, and addition of the GRCSU mission and vision statement to the board agenda, which has been on there, and Linda's so kindly willing to share at the beginning of the meeting to keep us focused on our purpose here. So yeah, that's what I got. I don't know if you guys have other things to share from the retreat or thoughts on these particular goals.
About the communication, which was goal number 2 or 1? I forget.
1.
Goal number, because we talk about having, organized meetings. You're doing a super job as chairman, organized, engaging with the public. And then the circle, and, we've been in the Herald a few times. I save all the articles. But the other thing that we have a presence now on the town website by working with our administrator, Bill Sweet. If you go to elected officials, you'll see the list of school board members listed and what their terms are. So down the road, if somebody in the community wants to run for office, they could find out what's available. And then under another, I don't have it off the top of my head, but I think it's under our town, you scroll down and it has Rutland Town School District, and it will have, first of all, it has the Rutland Town School, because that's really our major building in Rutland Town, so we don't have them all. And important employer for a lot of people. But, you know, it'll have the minutes of the board meetings and a lot of information for people so that people know what's going on. But I'm so glad it's in one place on the town website, so people can access anything that's going on. It's listed also all the meetings, so people know when they are. It's always the second Tuesday anyway. So I think we're on the right track, at least.
Making progress.
Yeah.
Excellent. And then I was just considering, just for my own notes here, kind of a check-in on these goals. I was thinking like December, April, and July, or something like that. I mean, because March would be reorg, right? So, and December would get us mostly, well, getting through budget would be January, but then we'd be doing like January and April or whatever. So it doesn't. It can be a brief portion of our agenda, but I would consider December, April, and July just as a quick check-in on how we're doing with our goals. But
Nice.
You guys are good with that?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So I would look for a motion to approve our board goals as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Right?
Aye.
All right, new business. We're looking for a VisBit proxy for the. Can you fill me in just briefly on that? Can you get the
So at the
layman's
VSBA,
terms?
VSA annual fall meeting, the VisBit holds a meeting about various resolutions, and so what each district needs to have as a representative. And I know, Colin, you have volunteered, I think you're, as the SU, that you'll be up there.
Yeah.
So what Rutland Town needs to do is appoint someone to vote on their behalf, or if no one will be up there, they then will have to sign off and just allow someone to, what is a proxy, someone within the visitor VI. So if Colin's going to be there,
We don't have to worry about this. Or,
well, you have to just appoint Colin, you have to make a motion that he would serve as your designee to vote on resolutions on your behalf, the Rutland Town School District behalf.
perfect. All right, can you go with that, right? You said.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion. Colin be our proxy for the upcoming board meeting.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Nope.
So
No.
and Colin, I know that GRSSU talked about bringing the resolutions back for discussion, so maybe in October,
Yeah.
bring some of those resolutions back to the local board for
Yeah,
discussion.
so different boards across not the country, the state, they bring resolutions that they want to see some change towards the VSBA mission. So we'll get those, and we'll talk about those in October about how you want me to vote. Some of them valid, others are just spinning in the wind, people talking, so as you'll see.
Amen.
All right. All those
I'm
in,
guessing cell phones will be on there, but
Aye.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All
I
right.
need those.
Yeah, don't let me walk out. All right. So upcoming meeting would be October 14th, which we'll have the
Can we move the SU?
we'll have the SU meeting already. That'll be October 1st, I believe.
October 1st.
Yeah, and we'll have at least one task force meeting in the meantime, so hopefully we have some good things to share or more to share at the next meeting, so. Teacher, staff, community comments to wrap it up?
Just, Colin, when you were saying about the Act 73 or the community forum and stuff, and like making sure that the town members that are not just the parents, has anybody reached out to the town to have it on their website in more detail to try to get more people engaged? Or, just to make sure they're aware of it, comment, reason being.
See, me and Liz had talked about that. I'm not gonna tell anybody over there what to do, but it'd be
No,
nice
if
to.
you guys asked to see cases when they would put on there,
Yeah,
because
that-
it is a big thing, and everyone should be aware of that, because a lot of people moved into the town so that they could have school choice, and if they don't participate, it does not, you know, like you said, you know, but just that sort of thing. What was the other thing? When you guys were talking, Sarah, when you and Colby were talking about the testing and stuff, and, you know, where those that need the help, if they're not meeting expectations, meet expectations, and then above expectations, what are we doing for those kids that are above and beyond versus, you know, like, I'm just.
Our teachers are responsible for meeting the needs of all of our kids. So we
Yeah, I
have
know.
quite a few that are way above.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have specific questions, I encourage you to reach out to teachers, specifically for those kids that are way above.
Testing, well, I'm just curious, I was just curious how
I think
that
it's a
works.
point, it's not a surprise. I would say 99.9% of the time, it's not a surprise when we see those kids that are performing at the 99th percentile on some of these screeners. Typically, they are in the class as well, and our teachers already know that they're working with them to challenge them.
I was just curious as
Yeah.
to where that.
It's a great question. The MTSS framework is not just about helping those kids at the bottom, so it's a great question, yeah.
So, no, I was just curious on that. There's a few others, but I forgot what it was, and I didn't jot it down, so that could be for another meeting.
Thank you. No executive session. I did not. Anyone else? I did not include good and welfare, but I would, if anyone has anything to share, I would welcome that before we depart.
Today, I think my grandson's soccer out back, the first time I've been out there in a while, and he had a great time, and kids looked like they were having a great time, and Mike Rowe was making sure everybody's there. Fun.
I know Wes was there, helping out.
Oh, yeah.
That's so
Yeah,
nice
they're
to
all the
have
eighth
those
grade-
big kids.
The
in charge.
boys soccer team was,
The boys soccer team
Yeah.
helps with the younger kids once a week.
Today was day one.
I was at Rutland High Alumni Field last Friday for the football game, first of the season, and they looked good, and I saw a lot of Rutland Town kids. They made sure they said hi to me, and they looked great. The kids in the
job.
stands were being so positive and cheering for everybody. It was a great game.
we're gonna have a good year.
Anything for you, Coach?
Yeah, we had our first third and fourth boys game over the weekend. I tried to step off the gas pedal, but we beat Shoreham 10-1. So it was good to see the progression of my. We only had a couple of fourth graders last year, so my third graders move up. We had a lot of third grade participators this year. It's been great. And I'll keep mine to athletics, I guess. Just being at the country club golfing lately, we have, I think, 13 or 14 of the kids on the high school golf team are Rutland Towners. Some of them experienced, others new. So there's a lot of kids trying different sports, which is cool to see. They're all very respectful, learning the game. And I think we're going to try to develop something with the Rutland course in the spring. They're going to communicate with our PE teachers here, so maybe adding in a sport for that and or the rec. So that's exciting. And other than that, school's been great to come back into, and the same energy and positivity around. And my kids are pretty angry at night, so that means they're learning and off of their do whatever you want summer schedule.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's been good. A good start to the year. I keep talking about Sophie, who's now at Rutland High School, but it's like Rutland Town still in my head, so maybe that takes a little time to see, like, see her in red versus blue and things like that. But to Linda's point, I mean, I think it's a nerve-wracking time for kids and parents, but I think a lot of those kids that I know with Sophie's class have acclimated so nicely into the schools that they went to. So it says a lot about Rutland Town School and the community that we have here. So yeah, welcome back. Right?
Yeah.
We have a student that's doing I think it's called Place. It was Ethan that's that by, right?
Oh, I think so.
I think
yes. Yeah.
they get some credit from the high school. So we've had a couple of students, and there have been Rutland Town students. They're working with Mr. Schneider in the past, Mr. Schneider, Mr. Rowe. So one of our students, former students, that is a junior, that is
Senior.
Oh, he is a senior.
Senior.
6'4". It's like, hello, Mr. Schneider came in to help, but it's just great. And he's like, I want to come back to Rutland Town. I want to help out. And we see that so often. So I always say, well, don't forget. Yeah. So it's been great to see some of those kids come back and volunteer and help in our building.
Awesome. All right. Thank you very much. I will take a motion to adjourn.
So move.